Yo, what's good? This is Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. Y'all watching Hip Hop Uncensored
Hip Hop Uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam and riding passenger side. And you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper.
Hey, if you want to become a sponsor for Hip Hop News Uncensored, email me right now at advertise@hiphopun.com. That's advertise@hiphopun.com. Do not wait.
That's it.
Numbers don't lie.
Yes, sir.
Indeed, man. So let's get to Mika, man.
Mika, damn.
Nah, I ain't gonna disrespect my brother like that, man. He just talking a lot on the internet, man.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Got a lot of love for Meek Mill though. What's going on?
It was a shocker though. Earlier today, man. I guess people started noticing that Roc Nation, they didn't feature Meek Mill on the website. I guess Meek Mill took whatever he had, saying that he was Roc Nation, and the news came out, and Meek Mill put this tweet out. News came, out even further, and Meek put this. All I seen today was Meek and Roc part ways. I'm personally handling my own business so I could take risks and grow. We came to that agreement together. I have a label deal with Roc for my artists, and I got Reform Super Tied with them and many other investments with Jigga. He goes on, he pretty much bigs up MMG, says he's still cool with Rick Ross. Yeah. But my thing will be, why are you leaving? If this is supposed to be, the company, because remember what Roc Nation is supposed to be. It's supposed to be, the company that comes in, looks over your current contract, finds different flaws with your other companies that you sign deals with, gets you better contract, gets you better splits, gets you in better, situations as far as different arenas, because they got the Live Nation shit going. Mm-hmm. So you're all over the world. If you're at the Pepsi Center, you're at this, United, whatever, you're getting all these big venues, better contracts, better deals. Why in the hell would you be leaving that company if it's so great? But if you guys can remember, and I'm not trying to shit on Roc Nation, right. We had our brother Kansu on, and he was telling y'all then that it's all pretty much the same type of structures at the end of the day. And people really didn't want to hear that. But here we go. Here we are today.
You go to Roc Nation so that an artist can be an artist, so we thought. And now it looks like Meek Mill is leaving Roc Nation because they won't allow him to be the artist he wants to be. He wants to take risk. He wants to do these things as an artist. But you would ask yourself, why couldn't he do them at Roc Nation, like you just alluded to? All the venues and all the different opportunities that come with being at Roc Nation. Why couldn't Meek Mill be Meek Mill and then be distributed and be promoted and be represented by Roc Nation? Well, it's because Roc Nation had other plans for Meek Mill, and he wasn't as free as he thought he might be. And I just don't like to hear Meek Mill talking on Twitter. I remember having a conversation with this chick I used to mess with back in like 2011 and 12. Right. Meek Mill and J. Cole were about at the same point. And we were asking ourselves, who was going to be hotter when it was all said and done, J. Cole or Meek Mill? And I, without question, said Meek Mill. Right. He had just came off of, what was that joint that he had? It's gonna be wild in my old hood. In my new. He just came and he was fucking fire. Right? And I didn't think anything was going to touch this kid out of Philly. Heard that passion, was like, okay, he's on his way. And now we look at it, and we look at iconic status and who's sitting higher. J. Cole, without question. People look at Meek Mill as he's a joke. And I don't like that because talent is there and the passion is there. But I think throughout time, he's made some real questionable business decisions and allowed those to play out in front of public eye to allow them to kind of create the perception and the narrative. And it's hurt Meek Mill. And I think it still continues to hurt Meek Mill. We don't need to know certain things, and we don't need to know all the ins and outs of what's going on. Just go out there and be a dope rap artist. And we've talked more about Meek Mill off the fucking mic than we have on the mic the last couple of years.
Well, this is what this tells me. I got to be real with this with everybody. Is remember when I started reading those tweets from like February, right? When he supposedly was calling out Atlantic and not Roc Nation. This goes to show you he was calling out Roc Nation as well.
A little bit.
Right.
At least.
And the fact that you got to come in and say, well, I'm still cool with this person. I'm still cool with that. That shows you why you got to even qualify those statements if everything was good. So, it's something going on there. I will probably side more towards that. It's probably just like any other company, just probably a little bit more opportunity. But for whatever reason, I think for Meek Mill's career, maybe it just wasn't the best place at that time. It was more allure than anything. Like back in the day, you go to Def Jam or, whatever the big company be, Bad Boy, Rockefeller, they all, Murder Inc. At one point, they all kind of had that allure. Like if you went over there, shit was going to pop. We interviewed a guy from MOP. They was on Roc Nation. it wasn't the best situation. Or Rockefeller back in the day, it wasn't the best situation. People that went on G Unit thought it was going to pop off. It just wasn't the best situation. So I think what Meek Mill is in his career just wasn't the best situation. Why? I have no idea. I can't compute why it wouldn't be the best situation for a guy at this point in his career. But I'm glad to see that he's still good with Rick Ross. But still in the back of my mind, I think that he was a little bit annoyed with Rick Ross. It's like, damn, dog, that'd be like me. I get you to this record company and shit, and I co-sign you, and they fuck you over. You're going to be looking at me like, damn, dog, you kind of got me. Right. Even though you got rich and all that shit, but it's like, damn, you know what I mean? Yeah. Look what I'm in now. So, I don't know.
Will we ever see Meek, from a music perspective, will we ever see those classic albums that we
that's a good one.
Meek Mill in the beginning, the Dream Chaser mixtapes that we can go through nonstop and really dive into those albums and listen to it like it's an audio book, and them first ones that made us love Meek Mill. Do you still see that in Meek, bro?
I see it, honestly, if more controversy happens. To me, he's one of those like nowhere near compared to T.I., two different types of guys as far as rapping and all that, but that just does their music, comes out of the pain, or the pain comes out of the music more. So when you seen, Meek Mill coming into the game, he was hungry, he was dropping his best music. And even a few years after that, he got richer. He started talking about Richard Milles and shit, popping bottles and different things like that. And it's the same type of thing, man. I don't know, bro. I want to see it. Meek's one of my favorite rappers of all time. I can always go back and listen to Dream Chasers 2, Dreams and Nightmares, all of them joints. And just, it takes me back to when it was, that whole time and the nostalgia and everything. But I don't know. I just think it's going to take a situation, some adversity. Maybe this is it.
Yeah.
Where he can give that best music. Because did you like his last project? What do you think that was?
That was a bunch of B-side tapes trying to get out of a contract.
Man.
It was. And let's not, and that ain't
They had
no
a couple joints on there, but no,
that shit was beast.
My thing, real quick,
fucking record.
Yeah, my thing is like, I think he got too caught up in the little Baby Dirk shit, like trying to rap with them and do what they and just do be the Meek that we know. But go ahead.
No, you good. I don't know if we're gonna see it again. I don't think Meek Mill's been the same since he's been out of jail, and I don't want to see him back in there.
Think it's them billionaires hanging out with?
I think that maybe. Maybe it ain't been the same.
Bunny hopping.
Yeah, you jumping around on tennis courts and shit in your drawers. It just hasn't been the same, man. And I don't know. I'm not mad at the brother for living his life, for feeding his family, for getting him out of them slums and that situation that he was in, for sitting in jail and being on probation for those ridiculous amount of years. I'm happy you out of there, bro. From man to man, brother to brother, I'm genuinely happy. From a fan of your music, I just don't think it's been the same. I don't know if it'll ever be the same. Maybe you getting out of Roc Nation will get you back to that form, or maybe you go completely left and you change the game up on us and we just ain't expecting what the fuck we about to hear.
Did Meek Mill fall off?
No.
Music-wise?
Yes. He's fell off from grace when it comes to music. That don't mean he can't get back up. He isn't done. He isn't out of the game forever. But the last couple of Meek albums have been forgettable albums, and I wish that he can get back to that Meek of old. The last one, I think, was it Dreams and Nightmares, or the one right after that was the last Meek album that came with it, and I think that was right after he came out of jail.
Right.
That time.
Is it the orange one?
Maybe Championships.
Oh, Champion.
That's about the last one I fucked with.
Yeah, word.
Honestly.
Word. And that was, what year was that? Maybe 19, 18?
Right after y'all won the bowl.
So like 18. Yeah, around that time, 18, 17. So that's 5 years.
So, I mean, okay, and if Meek Mill was quiet for 5 years, we ain't hear no music for 5 years, and then he came back out, we still will get that of Meek Lewis, kind of like a Kendrick's, kind of like a J. Cole. They don't have to drop music every 5 minutes for us to appreciate the body of work. But you dropped some albums in between there, and them shits wasn't hitting, man. And now we're seeing the controversy with Atlantic, and now you're moving on, and it makes my skin curl and cringe every time I hear of an artist talking about their label deal with other artists, because them artists underneath them ain't getting no goddamn bread. You know it.
What about Yo Gotti? Because everybody talks about, and I keep saying that he's like the guy to go to, because and the people wrote this, like he encourages his artists to not just buy the stupid stuff, but to invest in real estate and different businesses like that. What about Yo Gotti in your opinion?
I don't know too much about his business Ackerman, but you can appreciate that. We talk about a Kevin Lyles with a Young Thug,
Right.
and him talking about protect black art, but you were letting him go ahead and spread his whole business throughout album after album and got him sitting in the situation. It wasn't your fault completely. That man was doing his thing and did what he wanted to do.
Right.
But when you look at that in comparison to a Yo Gotti, who's obviously been from them situations, who's grabbing rappers and people who have been in those situations and taking them out, I haven't heard a complaint from this man at all. And every one of his artists looking like they eating
Not yet.
very well.
It's early. It's still early.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right. And I don't want to, wish no bad, but best believe they eating, he's eating too.
Oh, he's eating more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it may not be a problem. I mean, if your Moneybagg Yo can make $15 million this year and, he makes 25, fuck it. You know what I mean?
I'd be cool with that too.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I never really been in the industry to really speak too deep on it. You've been more deeper in it.
It's fucked up.
Yes, I don't know how those contracts really go. Like what type of contract Moneybagg Yo has. According to our brother Consu, he said it's not really much different in none of the joints. Last time we asked him about it and those different contracts, but you never know.
Yeah, it's all about leverage at the end. Like you get your one base contract that's gonna fuck you over royally,
right.
And then once you start gaining leverage, you get fucked over less and less and less and less and less. And once you control your masters, you're in more of a driver's seat. But if you sign that contract, you don't own shit, and then you gotta eventually start getting that stuff back. Right. That's why it's better to go independent, grow independent, even though it's a lot more work. Obviously it's a lot more work, but once you establish what you establish, and you gain that leverage, then you can go to an Atlantic, you can go to a top place in New York or LA, or wherever the case may be, and leverage that to where they can't fuck you over because they already know what kind of money and what kind of value you bring to the table. So
get your lawyer, get yourself an accountant.
Man.
Before you get, I mean, I know it seems like it's expensive, but you ain't got to have a lawyer on retainer for years paying for the job. Find a lawyer that's going to take, it's not going to be an hourly lawyer, someone lawyer that you can just pay flat fee, flat rate, and make sure you look over your contracts and things, look over different things, and make sure everything is set up, your business structures and things like that, because that's going to matter in the long run. Trust me, it's going to matter.
Find a lawyer before you find a label. I'll put it to you like that.
Hell yeah.
Find that first.
Right.
Well
they could save $300 for them to look over a contract could save you tens of thousands of dollars in the future. Mm-hmm. Literally. Or maybe millions, depending on how big you blow. So we be giving that game over here, man. We
try to.
We don't got to call it nothing, but we give it.
You know what I mean? And the real people appreciate it, and we appreciate them. You know what I mean? The people that come in and tune in. And
right.
We would like and hope that some of the people that we talk about respectfully can understand and appreciate our perspective and come on here and talk to us face to face, because that's ultimately what we want. We'd rather talk to Meek Mill face to face about certain things. It'd be all love, but hell yeah, these questions will come about, and I think certain people, I ain't saying Meek, 'cause I don't know, are scared to fucking do that.
Yeah.
Or somebody's in their ear because we're not that media, whatever. We ain't gonna complain. We're gonna keep doing our thing, but we see y'all. We see y'all.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
No doubt. But yeah, man, another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast is in the books. Definitely appreciate you guys listening to the show, man. If you listen to this on YouTube, Twitter, wherever the hell you listen to it, share it, like the video, and make sure that you recommend us to someone, man. That's your brother Sandman, Viral Hip Hop News. I'm your brother, Oh God. Hip Hop News Uncensored. Together we're the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. Over and out.